Yo, what is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to the fourth and final week of One Deck, 1 Month featuring Swordsoul. And I'm very, very excited for this week. Feel very, very good with the deck. Feel like where I think I should be by the time that, we're done with the deck, I guess. Done with the series, at least, the fourth and final week. I feel like I'm where I want to be with the deck at this point, which is good. Testing has been going very well. Been doing a lot of DB grinding. I think in the past couple of days, on Wednesday and Thursday, because today's Friday, I think I've played a total of maybe 16, 17 matches on Dueling Book, and I think 12 or 13 of those have been unrated. Feeling much more confident in the deck. It's like a day and night difference between the first week and the fourth week, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm super ecstatic for that. Next thing I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about is that I currently, with all this DB grinding, have come up with two different 43 card lists. For some reason, 43 cards is like the sweet spot. I draw great hands, it feels like almost every single game. Bricking hasn't really happened at all. I maybe bricked once or twice, if I can even remember bricking, right? I mean, the deck will brick, obviously. It's not brick proof, but it just feels very consistent, and I really like that. The first build is maining the DD Crow, and I'll throw a picture up here on the screen for you guys to see. So the first build is maining the 3 Crow and the 2 Cosmic, and it's only on the 9 Tennies with the 2 Vessel. E-Telly is in the deck, and I think I already talked about why I'm putting E-Telly back in the deck in the last episode, which you guys haven't seen. Definitely go check that out. So Crow's in the main, Cosmic's in the main. Crow's there mainly to help, Crow and Cosmic are both there to help combat Scythe decks, which is a very problematic deck. And that's obviously what our only loss was last week. It was still a little salty about that, but it is what it is. And not only do they help against the Scythe decks, they help against Despia and a wide range of other matchups. Crow hits so many matchups. Despia, Sky Striker, Invoked, Prank Kids, Eldritch, you name it. It hits a ton of different matchups, many more than I can just throw off the top of my head right now. Cosmic Cyclone, also great against the Despia deck, hitting their fusion in the standby phase or even in the draw phase, right? It forces them to use it immediately, which is not super great. It means their Chimera is not going to do anything. Not the greatest against the deck, but still. Also good against Mystic Mineouts, good against just going into boards in general, set imperms, droplets, other interruptions that might be there, and good against backrow decks. And I think I already said it, but obviously a main deck out to mine. The side deck is also, you'll notice the bells have gone out, and there's 2 Droll and Lockbird in there. I felt like having Bell and Crow was a little redundant. I already have Droplet and Crow and Ash in the main, which is good enough counters for Despia. I feel like the bells are overkill, and I could put in something a little bit more to help out against Flandreese. So we had the Gamma, we have the Droplets, the Gamma, the Lightning Storms, the Drolls, and the Red Reboot. And we're on the Anti-Spell now, too. Instead of the 3 Rivalry, it's 3 Anti-Spell, 2 Rivalry. Takes care of the Brave Engine, shuts down the Flunder deck, hurts the Despia deck. Just all around phenomenal card. And then, whatever spells that they have set, we just spin them back with Boxia, and they go super minus, and we win. So that's that list, right? The other list, and you'll also notice Borreload Savage Dragon is in the extra deck. There was a profile I saw. It was a top 8 regional list. I can't remember what the person's name was. If I remember, I'll put a link to that deck profile down in the description because credits to them. This is where I got the idea from for the Borreload Savage. But it allows you to make an Omni Negate that isn't Baron in help combos. It's also a good card to be able to make late game off of just 10 plays, so long as you're obviously not Wormlocked. And you have a Monk Engrave, it's just an Omni Negate, and sometimes that's just way more impactful than making something like a Berserker. So Shaman is out of the extra deck for now. We'll see how much that comes up tonight when we go to a friend's house to test, like we always do on Fridays, at least most of the time. So yeah, list version 2. Here it is, now that I've talked about Borreload Savage. Here's version 2. The difference you're seeing is there are 10 Tennies in the deck and still 2 Vessel. Vessel is only a good card when paired with another Tenny. Seeing 2 Tennies together is pretty much always decent. Seeing Vishuda Adara, seeing Adara, Ashina, right? Seeing pretty much any Tenyi with Adara is just insane, right, for Hulk plays. So I didn't want to play too many vessels because I don't want to draw vessels when I don't see Tenyis. I'd rather draw Tenyis when I have vessel, right? That's kind of a weird way to explain it, but it makes sense in theory. So I don't want to max out a vessel because the card can be bricky, it can be dead, where Tenyis can actually help me play in very like subpar game states, I guess. This build also has talents. Talents I like in here a lot more than, in the past because I can draw into E-Tallies. I'm going for the Howl combo a lot more, so that's going to force out a ton of hand traps and help us just play through them or punish our opponent if we have ways to keep going. And a lot of the times, our hands have a lot of gas to keep going, so we can punish them and rip a card out of the hand, which is absolutely devastating, right? Rip a Prosperity, rip a Starter, rip a second hand trap, right? Get the knowledge to better build the board. Incredible. So we're testing out 2 talents and the Called By, just because they're all, like good hand trap defensive cards. They can be good going second, right, against Dragon Link. Called By is huge for the seals. Going second against Despia, hit their branded and red target, it fizzles, right, and also helps us play going first. So, and the main deck difference, I think, is the Crows are in the side, and we're on 3 Droll because I decided to drop the Gamma package because I wanted to put Droll to 3 because I feel like that's a card I definitely should be having in there for other matchups I'm not respecting enough, like Flaunderies and Drytron, and any other super like search heavy decks. So I wanted to try the Drolls out and cut the Gamma because honestly, I don't really see like Gamma being super impactful over any of the other cards that I have in there right now, at least post side. My opinions might change on that. I know I was talking about how you could Dark Lock with like Yazi and a Gamma, but you can still technically do that. You just need to make the Yazi like a level 8, so you need a level manipulation play. A little harder to set up. Something I still don't even think is worth going for, even against the Despia deck. I think just making Chow Fang with Light is just enough at the end of the day for playing around Nib Veil or Gamma and Ghost Ogre. And the side deck, yeah, outside of that, it's pretty much the same. The only thing I think I wish I would have had in testing were those Cosmic Cyclones, because I tested this list a little bit last night, and I really like it a lot. I really like both lists. I mean, I haven't had a time to test the version 1 a lot, because that list looked a little bit different, and then I changed it to what it is, what I just showed you guys a few minutes ago. But I might try to squeeze Cosmics in there somewhere. Maybe it's like Droll goes to 2, and Lightning Storm goes to 2 for 2 Cosmic, because I like Cosmic in the fact that I can draw it into like an already established board, or if it's like I already have a board established, if I draw Lightning Storm, it's dead. That's always been a problem with Lightning Storm. But if you see it as your 6th or in your opening 5, it's a blowout card, or it's going to 1-for-1 trade. And I like cards like that, right? I think in deck building, I think I've talked about this in the past, if you're going to try to play impactful, like going second cards, like there are cards, typically these cards are going to force a 1-for-1 trade, or if they resolve, it's a 1 for many, right? That's, how you get the most bang for your buck out of each card you play, and, puts you farther ahead in the duel to out, whatever board your opponent has, and, ultimately win the game, right? Win the match. But I think that's everything I want to talk about. I really like this list, and I really like this deck. I like this deck a lot. And I think I already said this is the deck I'm taking to Hartford. We have that VIP qualifier, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. I think I spoke incorrectly at the end of the last episode. I might have fixed it already, I'm not sure. But we're going to be taking this deck there. I don't know if it's going to be this exact list. It'll probably change a little bit. But outside of that, that's all I wanted to say. And we're going to go test against Despia, against Flunder. The mirror match, maybe, if my one friend is there. And I think outside of that, it's going to be a good time. And we're going to stay focused. So, yeah. So welcome to the Tuesday match recap. I know we're kind of going backwards in time right now, but that's because I think I forgot to record like a lead-in segment to this part. But no big deal. We can just fit it in here before we fast forward to Saturday. And And I wanted to go over this one particular match specifically because we are playing against the Adventurer Despia deck. And I feel like that is the bread and butter matchup for Swordsoul. I feel like it's one of the harder matches for Swordsoul. Just because like it's super poly. Sometimes Swordsoul does have a hard time breaking the board with just engine cards. Because there's so many interruptions, and the interruptions are so reactive, it makes it a little bit difficult to play through. I think Despia has the slight edge in this matchup, but that's where really knowing your interactions and being a good Swordsoul pilot really comes in handy. And yeah, so like I really like this matchup. It's probably like one of my favorite matchups to play, but at the same time it's the most difficult. And I figured if I was going to show one match for this segment of the video, because I don't want to go over all the matches since I think this one is just the most relevant from a meta standpoint and also from like a technical play standpoint, and pointing out things that I should have done differently. And also, I don't think I pointed out yet in this video, but this is pre-ban list, obviously, because this was recorded before the ban list came out. I think maybe a week prior to the ban list, a week or two prior to the ban list coming out. But all of the core mechanics they still apply, right? Really nothing has changed too much. And I think I do end up actually moving to a no Hulk build before the ban list even drops. Like if you guys had saw the VIP qualifier deck profile, which chronologically takes place after the 4th week, I was no longer on the Hulk build. So everything just kind of worked out and fell into place, and we were just kind of like preparing. We were already kind of ahead of the curve, if you will. But yeah, so let's hop right into this one. And I just wanted to clarify the ban list thing, because some people might be confused, like, oh, why are you summoning Hulk and Despot, all this stuff. But obviously it's for the ban list. But here we have my opening hand is Emergence, Ecclesia, or Emergence, Longyun, Ghost Ogre, Ash, and E-Telly. Could have swore there was an Ecclesia in here, but I think I draw that off my Moe. So it's actually Emergence, Longyun, Ogre, Ash, E-Telly. So we're just going to see this play out kind of standard way to play out the hand here. This is one of those hands that it's a risky Swordsoul hand. Like if you play the deck, sometimes one Ash, like in a scenario like this, without a normal summon play already, is just like past turn. This could also technically be classified as a hand post-ban list that dies to Imperm. But that's why I think Circle is like a mandatory card in the main deck right now for Swordsoul. Because you dodge Imperm and you dodge other things as well. See this go ahead and resolve here. It also helps you play around Collector too, not to mention. You're going to see the Moe resolve here and everything. We draw into an Ecclesia off of our Moe, and now we're just searching off of the Chijiao. Now, at this point, I'm kind of coming to the realization, like, I could grab Blackout here, right? But the problem is, if I can't use Longyun if I go Blackout. And I knew this player I was playing against does play Despia, so, like, kind of going into, like, all right, I don't really feel like I have to worry about hand traps here for the most part, because this deck, even still to this day, game 1 doesn't really main board any hand traps. You got to worry about the Collectors and Nibiru's coming into games 2 and 3. Obviously, you want to be very careful and try to play around with those cards as much as you can using your Tenyis, making sure you're using Circle correctly, right? You can definitely play around those cards going first games in 2 and 3. But game 1 here, I like to... I don't necessarily want to say play greedy. I guess you could call this play greedy. I couldn't really set up the draw 2 play here either. But, it's just the classic end board of Qixing, Chijiao, one set, which is E-Telly, and I had to discard the Blackout there. I was okay with discarding the Blackout solely because I'm getting something out of it, because it's going to be my go-to banish target for Chijiao. Gets me a token on board and gives me something to work off for next turn. And yeah, also this is the Adventurer variant down here, so you're going to see, like, the interaction with E-Telly can be kind of nice here. I think, now E-Telly or Ogre really just, like, not a good card. Like, even against Adventurer, like, having Bell for Enchantress is also just nice. It's weird because, like, it's hard to classify Adventurer decks right now because there's so many different ways to play them. There's so many other engines that you have to worry about. I don't know, it's tough. It's a tough, like, thing to, like, try to kind of main/side for, because, like, Ghost Ogre's, like, only good against Fateful, but Obviously, it works in this variant because of Hulk and, you know, probably being a going second card. So you're going to see my opponent actually activate Foolish Burial, dump Carbon Neton of all things. Normal summon Aluber, I do negate that with the Chi-Jiao, put him on, have Branded Fusion. And also, this is going to keep him off Branded Loss, too. Because if he already opened Branded Fusion, right, I have the Ash for, or I have the way to stop the Branded Loss from coming out, which makes my life a lot easier. That's why always hitting the Aliber, I think, is, like, second to none important, outside of ashing the Branded Fusion. Because, like, that way you keep them off having both. Like, they're only going to have one or the other. And if it's just Branded Loss, it's not even that big of a deal because then they don't have Branded Fusion. Also, I misplayed here too. I definitely should have just banished the Labradorite Dragon, which is a level 6 tuner. I just didn't put 2 and 2 together there that he was going to synchro for Baron. Which is, like, odd because now he can't Branded Fusion. And I do attempt to banish the Baron on summon, and he's going to negate the Baron, or negate the Chi-Xing with the Baron, and I chain Ogre just to try to get it off the field. And he has Crossout Designator too, which I was like, okay, man, that's fair, I guess. Like, if you're playing an adventure variant, you know, having the Ghost chain for a Crossout target is fine. And then he's going to go ahead and pop the Chi-Jiao with the Baron. Token is 0/0, so he can go ahead and run over the token, and the board is completely cleared. Sets 1 and passes, so the Baron negate, though, has been burned. He is going to tag out here in the standby phase, get the Aluber. We ash the Aluber. He has another cross out. He's going to get rid of another ash. He's going to get Branded Fusion for next turn, which is like, okay. And at this point, it's like, I have to try to make a push for game. I think I have the Ecclesia, which is huge for follow-up, and I think I drew Ashina too. So, like, this is turning out to be a really good hand here, and this definitely can just be game. Really hard to mess it up at this point. The only thing we're getting hard punished by is, like, a main decked Nibiru or Collector, which is highly unlikely at this point. So we're just going to go off and play our deck here. We're going to draw, we're going to search Longyan, we're going to go for the Baron. I hope I go for Baron. Because I did resolve a Longyan in the grave. He's at 68, but this is 5,800 damage. So I think I have to extend a little bit more to make it so I can make it actual game here. So I am locking myself out of the Baron, but we're going for Chen Ying, which is a pretty good body. And then we're going to go ahead and link the Vishuddha into a Monk, and then Vishuddha is going to go ahead and bounce the Aliber back to hand, because I think that's my only move right now, since I don't have any other Tenyis engraved that I can use. So yeah, my only option right now is to go ahead and just bounce that back. Field is opened up. The Chen Ying is gaining 600 because it was banished crossout targets, and then, you know, that's game right there. That's more than game. So we clean it up right there. And I really don't think I made a mistake outside of not realizing, like, oh, 4 non-tuner plus level 6 tuner. That's Baron to Fleur, right? And that just basically outs my entire field if I let it hit the board. So 100% banishing the Labradorite Dragon. It's not the best banish, but I feel like I have to get rid of it just so he can't make a, you know, a Baron push. So now we're going to go ahead and skip into game 2 here. All right, so we're drawing our opening hands here in game 2, and I don't know if I'll necessarily get a good look at my hand here. Looks like I have Gamma, E-Telly, and then Emoyi and 2 other cards, which I can't necessarily tell what they are from this specific angle. So now we're just going to go ahead and speed it up here. And my opponent is going to lead with right, which, like, anytime the opponent opens up right, it feels so bad. It feels so bad just because, like, none of your hand traps really do anything at that point, because your opportunity to Bell is gone. I guess Ogre is still good in either scenario, because if you Bell Enchantress and they already have a right in hand, it just feels so bad. I did see E-Telly in hand, though. An E-Telly in hand. So, yeah, we have Taya, Moyi, Ecclesia, E-Telly, Gamma. So, yeah, that's a rough hand. That's a 3 normal summon hand. That happens sometime in Swordsoul, but like at least you have a way to play, right? Plus follow-up. That's why drawing like Moyi or Ecclesia Taya is good instead of like Moyi or Ecclesia Moyi. Hence why I only play 2 Ecclesia, because I really only like seeing Ecclesia when it's not paired with something like Moyi, because then Moyi reveal Moyi is just it's so bad. Yeah, he's just gonna do adventurer things, and he's gonna dump a collector engrave. So right now I know about the collector, I know about this. And I can probably, I think at the time I was like, okay, this is probably Imperm or something like Droplet, right? And I hope I draw phase E-Telly here. I hope I draw phase E-Telly. Like I do. This also might be standby phase here. And this is obviously correct too, because now the Ghost Ogre is just going to immediately threaten this Griffin Rider. So I'm going to special summon the Ecclesia, normal summon the Moyi here. And I don't know if this was correct either. Like, having all these cards in hand, especially normal summons, it's tough to how to, like, sequence things. Just because, like, if I just start Ecclesia, I have to go Moyi, then the Moyi in hand is dead. I mean, I guess it's discard at that point. I have a Taya play 2. Because sometimes I just like to put all these bodies on the board, but I just don't know necessarily if that's like a really good idea or not. So my opponent is going to drop it here. So yeah, my opponent is going to drop it here. He is going to pitch the Draco back and the Albaz. Or no, he hits the Ogre, interestingly enough. So yeah, he hits the Ogre, hits the Moyi. The Ecclesia is still online. And hitting the Ogre is kind of weird. And I guess also having, you know what, I think I take back what I said. I think this is smart too, because it helps the player on the token collector. Obviously, because you have a level 4 tuner body in the form of Ecclesia, which is always nice. Now he has the Draco back equipped, which is like whatever. And my Ghost Ogre is not really doing anything right now, which is unfortunate. And he still has Collector Engrave. And I have another E-Telly in hand. And I think I specifically went over this play with a friend. I remember talking over this specific replay with a friend here. I think the play, because oh, okay, yeah, it's coming back to me. What I do here is just so bad. It is just so terribly bad. What I should do here is make Yazi. And this is what I think is more correct than what I did. It might not be 100% optimal. But based on what I have in hand, I believe I have E-Telly, Gamma, and a Taya in hand. So I think I Synchro 7 here for Yazi. Yazi is not really in risk of anything right now. We use Yazi, targeting itself and the Griffin Rider. He has 2 options there. He lets it go through. They both get popped. Yazi effect. If he negates it, right, Yazi still gets destroyed. Yazi effect, summon Taya from deck. And at that point, we technically don't have to use Taya, but we can. Because we want to force out, like, Collector, I guess. So the Taya comes out. We use Taya, banish Moyi's cost, get Collector. Get Collected. His token goes too. And then from there, we still have Ecclesia on board with Taya. And then from there, we can go to Chijiao, dump a card to the grave, and then we go for a Longyun, and then Longyun pitches the other Taya in hand, and I believe that's probably just a way better way to play this. I definitely, in the moment, it's so easy to overcomplicate things when you have, like, so many options available, and I was really tunnel visioning on the other E-Telly in my hand, trying to do something. I really don't know what I was trying to go for here. So I go Boxia 1, Moyi 2, and it's going to get rid of, well, he is going to negate the And I do this too. I don't know why I did this. I just chain Ogre in response. I know now, and in the video, I knew Ogre was negated. I was just tributing it for cost to get it off the field. I don't necessarily know why I was trying to do that. I think I was trying to make the Gamma in my hand live. For some reason. I'm not really sure. I'm really struggling to find out. Something in my brain here kind of short-circuited. So I go battle phase, and then at this point I'm like, okay, I'm kind of flustered now. So I go battle phase, try to kill the token, and obviously, you know, Fateful is going to protect, right? Or Dracoback, one of the two is going to protect. And then I just pass. Like, that was so bad. Like, the line that I just talked about might not have been the most optimal route there. I'm not saying it was, like, but it was better than that. Because Yazi just forces so many things there. Because Yazi just has to be destroyed, and not, luckily, Griffin Rider destroys. So just use the Ghost Rogue on field. Go for the Moyi. The Moyi is gonna draw a card because, like, I mean, sure, if he negates the Moyi draw, then Yazi's still gonna get rid of the Fateful. And then we're still gonna summon Taya. He's still gonna Collector, clearing his own token. And then we still have Ecclesia on board. That gets us to Shijiao. And Shijiao gets us to Baron. Which I don't think is game necessarily, but puts us in a much better position. And then I use E-Telly here, I think, on his turn. After just passing. And he drew this for turn. Okay, I want to see if he drew this Griffin Rider for turn. Because if so, that is like the luckiest thing. I'm going to activate Ogre in the standby, or main phase. Probably main phase. And then he chains Griffin Rider, which makes sense. I hope this was all done in the main phase, because if it was done in the standby phase, you can't summon Griffin Rider in the standby phase. It's only done in the main phase. But then Dracoback is just going to bounce the Boxia. He's going to activate Fateful. I'm obviously going to Ogre that. And then he normal summons Aliber, and I have Gamma, right? But that's just going to trade with the Griffin Rider, and then he gets his Fusion Engine. That's pretty much, I want to say, all she wrote. Because now he gets access to the full, you know, branded engine, right? And I don't have anything else going. And I think the last card in my hand is a Taya. Good, like having Taya is good, but not when there's a Collector and a Mirror Jade in play. That's not good. And especially since I'm going to take 5,000, 6,800 damage here. There's really no, like, the best top deck I have right now, like, doesn't even do anything. Like, I would need, like, in this particular instance, I would need, like, Taya plus Desires, and then Desires draws me into, like, Crow Ecclesia. Because Crow answers the Collector, which I did draw Crow for turn, right? Which is really good. But, you know, at this point, it's already just too late, right? He tries, you know, the Collector, I banish it. And then at this point, he can just Mirror Jade, banishes the Taya, and right, that's game. So, yeah, we're just going to go and take a look at game 3, where the gears really start to turn. All right, so in game 3, my opening hand was not good. My opening hand was Longyun, Rivalry, Otera, and I think another Longyun. Like, something to that effect. Like, where to the point my only play was to make Qixing and have Rivalry here. We burn 12. Now, this is really good, though. Having Rivalry Qixing, and I think I have Ogre in hand. Like, having Rivalry Qixing is really solid in this scenario. Like, really, really good. Because it's going to help beat the Brave Engine, and it's going to help just slow down the Despia, the Despia engine, too. We're going to see him resolve Prosperity here, and I think he takes a Collector off the top. Yeah, Dracoback Collector opening. And he takes the collector. I'm like, great. I was hoping to take anything but the collector. But the collector has been added to the collection. And from here, I think he starts Brave stuff too. Which is not like shocking. And this isn't where like the misplay happens yet. I want to say it happens a little later in this game. Yeah, I think I have Longyan Ogre in hand. I think that's what's in my hand. He's gonna activate Fateful Adventure, which I should have just banished that Fateful Adventure 100%. 100% should have banished this Fateful Adventure. Because like that puts him on, like if I had banished this Fateful, that puts him on have right plus Draco back, which I know he does not have Draco back because I just saw him reveal it off Prosperity. That gives me information, right? Like that's the one thing about Prosperity is like it's an insane card for them, but for you, you can also, if you pay attention, can use it to deter what is in and what is not in their hand. And I guess I just didn't pay attention to that. Like getting this, like that's what this card is designed to do, is to beat the Brave engine. And here I am just letting this Fateful walk. I guess I wanted to play super, super conservatively. He actually forgets his search off Aliber, which is funny enough, but he remembers to get it on my turn, which I'm like, I'm not going to shark him at locals, right? For YCS, different story, but locals, right, it is what it is. So he grabs the Branded Red. Obviously, he's not going to be able to do anything with Branded Fusion because Rivalry, so he's just adding that as a card to, like, use for next turn, possibly. And then I draw into, I'm not sure what I draw into here, but it's just not good. It's not like a starter. It's not a Moe. It's not a Taya. It's not an Emergence. It's nothing really crazy. So we just go Battle Phase, attack over that for 1100. Oh, I think it's an Ashina. Or it might be a Bell. I think I have Bell. Or no, I have Ashina, Bell, Ogre in hand. I think my opening hand might have been Longyan, Adara, Ogre, Bell, and Rivalry. I think that was my opening 5, and I just draw Ashina. So, like, not good, folks. It's not good here for me. Hell of a time to brick 2 in Game 3. So we're going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit. My opponent is going to activate Enchantress, which I decide not to Bell, which is also questionable. That probably should have just been Belled, because there's no way, like, he's getting into a point to resolve Branded Red while Rivalry is on the field. I really just don't see it happening. I also should have just banished this token. So imagine last turn I banished the Fateful. This turn I banished the token. Right? And now I don't have to worry about, like, this is getting a search now. This is getting him another free card. And I'm like, okay, this is fine. And now he gets Griffin Rider, which is like, okay, I'm a little scared now. I'm just letting him get all these free cards. He plays the Draco back, and now he has the Imperm. Which is like, it's so rough, you know? Because had I gotten rid of this Fateful last turn, he would not have been able to get to this Draco back this turn, because I assume this version of the deck, and this is an assumption obviously, like, only plays one version of Fateful, and if it's gone, right, it's gone. I also Bell the Enchantress to keep him from applying pressure with the Adventure Engine, and I feel like I fumbled the bag here, because now he outs the Qixing, and he bounces back the Rivalry, and from here he's basically free to play, basically just resolves Branded Fusion, and yeah, like that's pretty much it. Like, there's really no coming back from that at this point. Yeah, and I wish I could say more about it, but like, there's just, I played it way too safe. Just I don't know what I was like trying to dodge. Like, just keep Fateful off field, keep Token off field with the Rivalry up, and we're in there, right? That's all we have to do. And if I use my banish on the continuous Fateful, I don't have to worry about banishing the equip, so long as I also banish the token. And it took him that one turn of making a mistake to get the out of Imperm, which ended up swinging the game in his favor there. So that's just how easy things can slip out of your favor. You make one wrong move. So I wanted to go ahead and bring this up. We ended up going 3-1, though, at this locals. I think next round we played against Cyber Dragon, and then we played against another Adventurer Despia deck. We were able to beat those. We played Dark Magician round 1 and beat that. So we finished 3-1, get some credit. So not a bad outing, but definitely could have been better. Let's hop forward Saturday. All right, everybody, it is Saturday. It's about 5:15. Got to be leaving here roughly in about 15 to 20 minutes. So I wanted to quickly update you guys on how last night went as far as testing is concerned. I wanted to show you guys the deck list. And yeah, it's already the 4th and final week. I told you, it comes quick, right? A lot faster than you think it would. But like I said, I think earlier at the beginning of the video, I feel more prepared than ever. I played against a lot of Despia last night, and I think I played against Eldritch. I think I played like 3 or 4 matches against the Despia deck, and I think I only lost 1 match. Breaking boards, like breaking that deck's boards, is very easy with this particular build, and I gotta say, DD Crow, absolute MVP status when I say this. I think Crow is just absolutely incredible. I like it way better than Bell, personally. Do I want to main DD Crow? I don't know. Maybe not for locals. Maybe for the YCS. I feel like that might be the move, depending on how many people are actually going to be on the deck, right? You got to be able to read the room ahead of time. But, yeah, I think outside of that, testing went very well. I made some minor tweaks to the side deck. I cut Droll and Lightning Storm down to 2 apiece, threw in double Cosmic Cyclone. I think this is something I mentioned earlier. Now finally making that change today. I also dropped the Borreload Savage Dragon, something I'm probably going to continue to test on DB. It's proved to be okay so far. Is it a win more card? I don't know, but I want to put Shaman back in because there was a few times last night where I did miss the Shaman. Like, Chen Ying is an absolute house of a card. Chen Ying is still hitting. And to be able to revive him and have the opponent deal with him a second time, that could just win the game outright. But I'll show you guys the deck list here really quick. There's the Swordsoul lineup. Same as it was, I think, earlier. Tenny lineup, all the same. Also, I want to show you guys the ice here. I just got this in the mail the other day. Ulti Pot of Desires. Got to max out the God card. We've got the 3 droplets. 3 Ash. 2 Ogre. I actually just cut this down to 2 before I started filming. Yeah, just because I want to get the deck count closer to 40. 2 Talents. Also have these as well. I got these in the mail recently. 2 CRE Tellies and the 1 Called by the Grave. So this is 42 cards, and the extra deck is pretty much the exact same. The only thing I swapped was the Borreload Savage Dragon with a Shaman of the Tenny. I did actually see a really cool deck list today. My friend Adam showed it to me. It was the first place Salem, Oregon, I believe, regional deck profile for Swordsoul. Guy wasn't on the Hulk engine. If I remember, I'll put a link to that video in the description. Really cool list. He's playing Circle, which I am kind of biased to that card. I like Circle quite a bit. And it was really nice to see a deck list without Hulk or Auroradon. No Despot in the main, and it frees up 2 slots in the extra deck to play cool things like Crimson Blader, which is absolutely devastating against some decks. So yeah, I'm honestly, I got the butterflies in the stomach right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling so good right now for the tournament later today. Hopefully luck is on our side, because you always need a little bit of luck, right, when it comes to tournaments, because that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think that's all I really wanted to update you guys on. Rendering out the 2nd episode of One Deck One Month right now. About to upload it and get all packed up. And we're out of here for our 4th and final Saturday tournament. And if we win some credit tonight, we got to find something to blow our credit on, because I think I have about 60 credits stored up. All of that isn't from this month, obviously, because I don't think we've won 60 credits so far. But we'll just try to stick with the tradition. We'll just try to blow our credit on something, right? And maybe it's Pokemon cards, maybe it's Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I have no idea, but only time will tell. So, interesting thing. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but I said it on Twitter. I bought 166 copies of a card called Woodpecker. Why? Because I love woodpeckers. I actually created a bird watching channel last year. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I haven't posted really over the winter. But I saw that card. My friend was randomly searching. He typed DPE in on accident in Dueling Book, and the card came up, and I was like, I did not know this existed. There was a sell with 166 copies. I bought them. Probably asking, Winter, what the hell are you going to do with 166 copies? So the plan was to have a few turned into tokens, which I will be using as my main Swordsoul tokens. And the other plan is to sign a bunch of them and hand them out to people that come up to me at the YCS. So if you're going to YCS Hartford and you want a signed copy of Woodpecker from yours truly, don't be afraid to ask. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I don't think I've mentioned it in a video yet, and it was hilarious. And it's super cool at the same time. So I don't think I'll mention it again. So if you watch this video and you want a signed copy, even if you didn't watch it and you come up to me, I'll still give you a copy just because I think it's awesome. So we're here at the tournament. We're gonna go get set up, and we're gonna go rinse some people. All right, that's the game plan. All right, everybody, we just wrapped up our round 1 match. As you saw, we played against Drytron, but it wasn't just Drytron Megalith. Well, it wasn't just Drytron. It was Drytron Megalith with the Scythe engine, which I had experience playing against this deck on the ladder a couple days ago, so it was nice not being surprised by anything. It's that testing coming into play. Hindsight, I probably should have held that Ogre, and I probably already talked about this if I went over the match, but in case I didn't, should have held the Ogre for the Ophiel, because I feel like ogring that is way more impactful than ogring the Mu Beta, especially since he hadn't exhausted the Gamma. But also, shoutouts to Desires drawing me into 2 Moyis at the end of that turn when I already had the 3rd one in hand. 3 Moyi withdrawal, but turns out Chi-Xing pretty much just FTKs the Drytron deck, which is pretty hilarious. Banish the Drytron, banish Meteonis, and you're in a really good position. And then you have Chi-Xiao to stop the normal summon like of Diviner, so yeah, feeling pretty good. I'll probably update you guys after round 3 or after the tournament is over. All right, everybody, here we are in round 3. Last round we played against DDDs, and now we are playing against Sky Striker, Ara from Crush Cards. I'm sure you guys have seen him on the channel before. And I think this is like my 2nd time playing him, a long time, or might be my 1st. But I also forgot to start recording immediately, so you guys missed my first turn combo, which just was the draw 2 combo with Chi-Xing and Chi-Xiao here. So we're just going to go ahead and let this run. And my opponent leads with the multi-roll, which is like, you know, I feel like that's an easy banish. You know, losing multi-roll is like kind of a good idea, right? Kind of like that card, although maybe hindsight not the greatest idea, because this is one of those decks that likes to main deck Mystic Mine. And yeah, I know this bar here is in the way, but he did mine me, and had I left that, you know, let that multi-roll go, could have, you know, possibly banished the mine on activation, unless he used multi-roll, because I think multi-roll just protects like all of your spells in general. But at this point, it's also evident, it should be known, that I do not have a actual out to Mystic Mine in my main deck. But I was bluffing like I did. I mean, this is where I was like, okay, I have Blackout. Let's see if he plays into the Blackout, is basically what I'm trying to see. And, you know, we're passing back and forth, pass back and forth, pass, pass. Discards Metal Foes Fusion, passes it back to me, set another card, passes it back to me, pass to him. And I think at this point, since he saw me draw and set a card, I think he probably assumed that was an out that I had. But I mean, like I said, he literally could just go ahead and like keep passing back and forth, and he would deck me out. But maybe I just bluffed it really well that I did have an out, because I had you know, what is it called, Blackout set, but that's not a real out to Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine, Blackout is not a real out to Mystic Mine. Don't go into any event thinking that. My current list is maining 1 Cosmic Cyclone, just so I don't have to auto lose game 1 to Mystic Mine. But now that he's deciding to play into it, right, we do have a true out, because he will have 2 cards on field, and I will have a chance to out the Mystic Mine. And right now, just trying to see what he's going to do. Yeah, so he goes in the Hayate, and okay, so here's my theory behind this, is that once I black out, and he summons the Ray back, I can banish it. But then that puts me in a scenario where I'm under his well, I wouldn't be under Mystic Mine because I'm outing both the Hayate and the Mine. So if I get rid of the Chijiao and his Hayate and his Mine, then once the Ray summons itself back out, I can try to banish it on summon. Then he can just chain to tag out. That puts Ray back in grave. Then I can just banish whatever link he summons. And then we're kind of in there. But like as you can see, he has Droplet in hand. Like none of this stuff is going to work out how I want it to work out, which is fine. We just chain the Droplet here. And I do chain Qixing because I can. Because he only has a spell that he pitched, so I can respond with monsters. Ray's going to come back. Obviously, the Qixing is negated. He's going to go ahead and play an Area 0 now. Then he's going to go ahead and activate Area 0 on the Ray, chain Ray, to go ahead and tag out into, looking like a Kaina here. He's just going to go for the Shizuku, reveal 3, get Eagle Booster, and another Ray. Decided to take the Eagle Booster there, and he has Ogre, Ash in hand, and a lot of other Sky Striker cards. Yeah, he's got Eagle Booster, Shark Cannon, and one other card. And then face is going to Shizuku, which I do Ash to keep him off engage as much as possible. And now at this point, it's like trying to clear the board, and you have the Loyal Death Squad in hand. Clear the board and deal with Ray. Because once you get Ray out of the loop, like it's just so easy to try to like keep this deck down in card advantage, because Ray is like the card that keeps him in turn after turn. So I go ahead and use the Vishuda here, and we're going to try to return a back row. And he does have the Shark Cannon, so he gets rid of the other Vishuda in my grave, which, you know, I'm not too worried about here. And at this point, I can go ahead and Synchro for Baron. We're going to burn for 12. That's going to put him down to 3,200 to my 75. Also have Vessel in hand. Could have probably used it there while I had the token up, but you know, it's not such a big deal. I do normal Taya here, get token off the blackout anyways, and he has to ogre that. I don't decide to negate that. There's no point in negating that there. I just want to hold it for something else. And at this point, I don't think Shathana's in my deck. He ashes the Vessel here, so like I don't know how good the Vessel really would have like done me there. I guess it could have given me access to an Adara to get back of a shooter for next turn. I do run over the Shizuku here. I do negate the Ray. He draws an Afterburner for turn. It's standby phase. I attempt to bring back the Qixing, but he does have Ogre, which I actually don't know 100% here. I just want to read Baron's effect really fast on the fly here. Quick effect, you can target the, let's see here. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can target one level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard. Return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special on that monster. Okay, so I just want to double check that Ogre actually stops that, and it does, because it says, and if you do, you know, summon it, right? If you DD Crowed the target, Baron would still return itself to the extra deck, resolve as much as possible, but there the Ogre is going to make it impossible to extra deck. Bringing back Qixing there would have been really good, but, you know, 2 Ghost Ogres he had to have for the Taya and for the Baron, which is fine. Does resolve another Area 0 to get another card. Afterburner is going to go ahead and clear the token and another back row. It's just another E-Telly, and he does have the Engage here at this point, which is definitely going to help him get back into the game, since his one Ray has been turned off at this point, so he's got to basically, like, kind of start again, get another Striker Body on the field, attack in for 15, go for the Kagari. Kagari is going to go ahead and add back the Engage here, then is going to start rolling 19, I believe it was there, activate the Engage, grab the Widow Anchor, and he's going to go ahead and get that +1 here, draws into a Forbidden Droplet, which is pretty good. Dooku checking the graveyard here, and he does have Shark Cannon, and he wanted a translation for the Baron. So this is like one of the scariest things about this matchup, is that they can actually take like all of your huge boss monster synchros with Shark Cannon. It's actually like one of the scariest things to try to deal with, because now he has my Baron on his field, which I have to worry about trying to play through that now on top of everything else, and I just can't do it. So do go to game 2 here. Let me go ahead and just Fast forward. Yeah, so here we are in game 2. Obviously, I want to go first here. The anti-spells are in side deck. Did I draw them? No, of course not. We have Taya, Emergence, Vishuda, and 2 other cards. I can't really tell what they are. I think one's Ashina as well. So, yeah, we have Ashina, Vishuda, Taya, Emergence, and 1 other card. So, this is a weird interaction because, like, Collector and Nibiru, as I'm just kind of, like, thinking of this in hindsight, don't seem really fantastic in Striker because they're monsters that put into your main monster zone, which kind of interfere with the strategy. Yes, they can stop me from playing, but at the same time, they don't really they really stop themselves from playing. Same interaction with like Live Twin, how can't resolve the Live Twin normal summons. So at this point, it was like, as I'm watching this like back, it's like, what do I go for here, right? You know, what's the best thing to go ahead and make? I don't think I knew the combo at this point, which was Moyi Tenyi Tenyi. Well, Moyi Ashina Tenyi, which I do have with the Emergence, which would end me on Dragite, Qizhou, and a level 10. Qixing or Chenying. But I don't think I know that line, so I think I'm just going for the Chao Fang play here, which makes the most sense. Either that or I'm going for Berserker. I've called by the other card in hand, so I do go for Qizhou here, interestingly enough. Maybe I just wasn't worried about Nibiru here at this point, or Collector, given the nature of his deck. I can't remember exactly, but I guess I just had zero fear. We're going to go ahead and activate Emergence to add Shathana. We're going to go ahead and discard the Shathana for Longyun. And I feel like I could have definitely played this out way better with the opening that I had. But I guess this way I am going to... Well, I could have committed the normal summon for Taya, because I didn't even normal summon there, but I could have made a Berserker, but like Berserker's not super great against this deck, because if they activate Ray tributes for cost. And then if Berserker doesn't do anything to it because it's not in the same place that it activated. At least how I've seen that ruling go. So like I guess I just didn't feel the need to extend, and also this route too, if he had Nibiru, I could have still normal summoned Taya and kept going. So I guess that's fair reasoning for why I did what I did. And I also messed up the fact that I should have made him go first here in game 2. That's something I tend to forget sometimes, because the prospect of like, oh, I can go first with anti-spell against this deck, like that's like a really nice prospect to have in your head. But like letting this deck go first is just so nice. Because I got lucky here, and it paid off that he didn't have Ray. Because if he had Ray, that could have made things a lot more difficult. Or Mystic Mind. We draw Moyi for turn here. Then we're going to go ahead and Synchro into Boxia. Chainlink with Boxia, Chainlink to Moyi. Well, it's going to be Chainlink with Boxia, Chainlink to Qixing, Chainlink through Moyi. So we're going to draw 2 here, at least attempt to draw 2. He's going to go ahead and Widow Anchor, the Qixing. I do Chain to Banish. Keeps a spell out of his grave, which is kind of nice. And at this point, I think I could probably just go for game here. That last set has to be something, and it's not, so it was just a bluff, so we do take game 2 there. Okay, so here we are in game 3. Yeah, this is the game where my camera cuts out around halfway through, unfortunately. But, yeah, my hand here in game 3, and of course my opponent makes me go first here, obviously. He has like Engage, Ray, Terraforming, Godarla, and one other spell. Like his hand is really good. And I open up Ashina, Vishuda again. And I think my end board is like Qizhou and Berserker. And I have to use Qizhou here to get to Moyi, because I think I have Ogre, Ash, Blackout in hand. I'm pretty sure that's my my hand. So I had to make the Qizhou here to get a normal summon past this, or else like this was going to be my only play, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So like to kind of recap quickly how this game plays out, like my opponent starts with the Terraforming here. This is our end board. This is the Blackout. My opponent starts with the Terraforming. I have Ash, Ogre in hand. I'm like, okay, I know he's getting Mystic Mind with this, but like what if he already has the Mind in hand? Then I just went -1 for free. So I let it go through because I do have outs to mine in the deck, and I think my Moyi draw was a Lightning Storm, which is Yeah, I very clearly didn't prepare to be going first here in game 3. I thought I was going to be going second, but I was just like off my game here. But the game grinds out to the point where this berserker ends up in the grave and he shark cannons it back to his field. And I have an Ashen in hand and I top deck an Ecclesia. And he has like no interruptions because he's got his the berserkers on his field, clogging up all this stuff. And we're both, it's a very grindy situation. And he banishes the Ashina when I activate in hand with the Berserker that he took with a Shark Cannon. And then I special summon the Ecclesia, and he has the Ash for it. Thought it was the Destiny draw to take the game, but he also just had the Ash. So really good match here. We ended up losing. Definitely could have played this a lot more optimal. I felt like I just didn't know what I wanted to do with the cards I had sometimes. And I also just did not play against the Striker deck properly. Let him go first game 2 if I lose game 1, and be prepared to go second in game 3 if he loses game 2, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the tournament recap now. All right, after a very unfortunate end to game 3. We were able to win out in our round 4 against the Despia Tri-Brigade deck. It's actually, I think, my first time playing against that deck. Had a Destiny draw in round 3, which I don't think you guys saw because my camera cut out. The battery died. I top deck Ecclesia. He berserkered my Ashina, and then I spec Ecclesia, and he has the Ash for it, which is really unfortunate, but not too upset about that. And then round 4, I got Talents. My opening hand was like, and I'm pretty sure I probably already went over this, but that Moyi draw really saved the day. So now we're just perusing the Pokemon case to see what we're going to blow all that credit on. So I think I see 2 good candidates already. All right, so we are out of the tournament. It is almost midnight. Yeah, I know it's late. But today's tournament ran a little bit longer than it normally does because we had a top 4 and then a finals for a playmat. And my friend Johnny actually ended up winning it playing Blue Eyes. If you guys have not seen that deck profile, you need to go watch it because that deck's something else. Like, it's crazy. I was sitting there watching the finals, and it was like one of the funniest matches I've ever watched, but it was also just hilarious. Nothing short of hilarious. So that was really a treat to watch. But as for my tournament experience, it's a little bittersweet knowing that I could have squeaked in with the 3-1 record. But tiebreakers are tiebreakers. It's unfortunate. And it's just locals at the end of the day, right? We got something a little bit bigger coming up on the horizon. We got our VIP tournament next week. And this week going forward, me and my friend Adam, who are both playing the deck right now, are going to be testing a Swordsoul list without the Helk engine. I've been seeing a couple lists pop up here and there lately without the card, and I really like that because it frees up 2 extra deck slots. And I didn't play Borreload Savage today. It did come up one time, and I think it was in the Striker matchup, so maybe that would have swung the match in our favor. Who knows, right? Who knows? If I can look at a certain point in the footage, I might be able to tell whether or not it would have mattered. And part of me is saying, yeah, it would have mattered. So freeing up those 2 extra deck spots, literally having 0 main decked bricks sounds very enticing, and we're going to be testing it all week today, or all week this week. And obviously that won't be in this series, but yeah, I just figured I'd throw that in your little post-tournament thoughts. And we'll go ahead and wrap the episode up in the studio at home. Okay, so there you have it. That is the entire month. 1 deck, 1 month with Swordsoul finally comes to a conclusion. Now, we already talked about our tournament experience today. There's really not much else I have to say about the tournament other than that I had fun. Yeah, it's always just generally a good experience when you don't make any terrible misplays. And I don't think I really made too many major misplays today, because those always tend to throw you on tilt a little bit, but everything went smooth for the most part. Now, I do want to talk about my general feelings about the deck. Is Swordsoul a really good deck? Yes. Even without Protos, yes. Does the deck need DPE? In my opinion, no. Does the deck need Hulk or Fibrax? In my opinion, no. Is the deck fun to play? In my opinion, yes. I had a blast playing it. Honestly, I'd be willing to say that this is like in my top 10, maybe top 5 favorite decks I've ever played. It's just the play style is very fun, and again, it's a very skill-based deck, very pilot dependent, and I admire decks that are like that. And for that reason, on top of everything else, I really enjoy it. The synchro mechanic, the Tenny engine, like, it's just a lot of fun. So many free flow plays that can be just made out of nowhere. And not to mention the artwork on the Swordsoul cards is just absolutely top notch, and I gotta say I love that too. So going forward, I will most likely be taking this deck to the YCS unless something drastically changes, and also taking it to the VIP tournament next week. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of testing ahead with a Hulk-less version, and the version that I am playing now, and other builds that are similar to it. The amount of Swordsoul builds I have set up on DB right now continues to grow, but I like doing that. It allows me to take an idea, and maybe you guys can try this too. When you have a deck list on Dueling Book or whatever dueling simulator it may be, hopefully it's not Master Duel because that game's a joke. But anyways, if you have a deck list and you want to make a change to it, don't change that deck list. Just make a new deck list and make it exactly the same, plus the changes you were going to make. So if for some reason you were biased over a change you really thought you had to make, like, oh, I kept drawing Deskbot, I have to get the Deskbot engine out, like the Deskbot is causing me to lose all my games, leave the Deskbot version, for in my case, right? Not to say that Deskbot was causing me to lose games, it's just an example, the easiest example I could think of, right? And I go to a Hulkless build. In my biased state, I could think the Hulkless build will solve my problems, but upon testing the Hulkless build, maybe I discover it's not the move. So instead of having to go back and try to recollect what that build looked like, what the main deck side extra deck looked like, I could just go right back to that build. Kind of like a save state, if you will, but for IRL deck building, I don't know how else to describe it. But I gotta say, playing Swordsoul this month has been absolutely nothing short of a blast. Felt good to play a meta deck after playing, a rogue deck like Speedroids. Although, I gotta say, I love Speedroids. I still have the whole deck built. Will I be doing a lot of rogue to high rated with Speedroid? Before the YCS? Probably not. I know all my Speedroid fans are probably a little upset about that. I still have a couple pre-recorded episodes, to make. But outside of that, Speedroids is going to be put on the back burner for a little bit. And we're really going to focus up because, I don't want to drive all that way, spend all that money to not have something to show for it, right? So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching, from the start to the finish. And remember, if you want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And as always, Winner Kills signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members who are Tweeter0226, Ponystar, Cadillacs84, Justin Lamb, and HCH Cyber. Thank you guys so much as always for your extremely kind and generous support of the channel.